What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNVDriversedition, and today we got another hot topic. We've been discussing several things, like me trying to move my Corvette C8. I'm now doing a little car shop, and I've been sharing some of those videos with you as well. But the real question has come up off one of my last videos, is how bad is the Corvette C8 market right now? And I don't even know if how bad is the right question, but let's just say how flooded and how much has the Corvette C8 lost its value. Let's talk about it. Well, I can say this to you, we are far from the days where people are paying crazy money over MSRP for the Corvette C8. Remember, the base model reached astronomical heights of 50 grand over MSRP. And like I've told so many people before, I just couldn't see paying that type of money for a Corvette C8. So the people that paid $15,000 or less really hasn't seen the struggle so far, as the market rates have dropped. But I guess you can say depending on when they bought the car. But today, you are finally seeing rebates on cars. And I will be upfront and I will admit when I said I'm wrong. I wasn't expecting rebates to come into the 2025 year. But I guess with 2024 model years starting to receive rebates, however you want to look at it, I wasn't too far off. But I told people back in 2021, 2022, if you can stay before the interest rates got crazy, under 15 grand over MSRP, I feel like as the market shifts, you should be in a good place to still be able to get out of your car, I was saying within 2 to 3 years, as if you purchased a normal car. And I think a lot of people actually forget that, because we focus so much on the now that they have a tendency to forget that back before COVID ever hit, before 2020 put the world, or should I say turned it upside down, people used to buy Corvettes every year with $5,000 to $6,000 rebates. I bought my first Corvette C7 with a $6,000 rebate. So today's economy, a lot of people act like rebates never existed on a Corvette, or maybe they just never knew because they wasn't in the market for a Corvette, because the styling of the C7 and the previous generations just didn't pull them in. But when the C8 with mid-engine, they got a lot of the world's attention. And a lot of people have now thought or felt like they can own a mid-engine supercar thanks to Chevy. And that dream has come true for a lot of people. But now, I guess because we live in the moment and people can only remember, let's just say 4 years ago and nothing further, they feel like because the Corvette was once selling for $50,000 over MSRP, that today, when they're knocking off 2 grand on a car, some cases 3, but what we're typically seeing on the economy is $1,500 to $2,000 right now, that this is absurd, and all of a sudden the car isn't worth the money anymore. I had a conversation with a gentleman who told me I can go out and buy a Corvette C8 for about 20 to 30 grand under MSRP. Well, I haven't been able to find that deal. I've been looking because, like I told you before, I'm looking to move my Corvette C8. And even though my car is 4 model years old, and for the first time, I've actually been told the value of my car is actually 20 grand less than the MSRP that you could buy it for. I'm not surprised I have like 32,000 miles on the car, and it's 4 model years old, and I never expected a base C8 to be the prima donna car that will become the collector's item unless you had VIN number 1. But like I said, I'm not surprised. But so many people today act like that is just absurd, like the car should never be that way. And what I have to remind people is, regardless of how you look at it today, my base C7, which only kept just a little over 2.5 years, that car was worth less than $24,000 from MSRP in a shorter amount of time. So if you really be honest with the market, it's doing what the Corvette market has already done, except this time around, we have had more Corvettes produced and dumped onto the streets than ever before. So we also have a lot of new buyers in the marketplace. And let's talk about buyers. Even though the Corvette market, I would say, is flooded, saturated, you're walking in deep water, there are still people out there waiting to get their hands on a Corvette C8. I went to several Corvette events this year, and although I didn't make it to the big one, Corvettes in Carlisle, like I usually attend, I still got into several conversations with spectators and people and owners of previous generation Corvettes from C3s all the way to the C7s who still are trying to, I would say in some essence, bash the Corvette C8, saying it's not a true Corvette because it's mid-engine. But at the same point in time, I still see a lot of these people sitting there saying, yeah, I'm just waiting for a little bit more price drop, or when the car gets under 50 grand, I'm going to buy one. There is still a huge market waiting for the Corvette to say, fall into the right price range before they become an owner. I even had a person reach out to me on a previous video to tell me that pretty much if you can't afford to buy the car and pay it off within 6 months, then you can't afford to own it. We all have our ownership purchasing beliefs, but to me, I don't think because you go into a car note, you can't afford a car, but some people do. But at the end of the day, it just proves to me that there are still people out there waiting for the car to drop into what they consider an affordable range before they become an owner. So it may be 5 years after the fact, or 3 more years down the line, or 4 more years down the line, before we still see Corvette owners that are waiting in the wings to become a true owner of a Corvette C8. Let's take a quick break and do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 25 before 25, which is 2,500 subscribers before the year 2025. We're chasing the movement. Be part of it. Join the channel, especially if you like the content you've seen so far. We have more stuff like this coming your way, and you too can help guide the focus of the content that comes your way. So subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. But I guess it's time for me to really focus on why I made this video. Like I stated before, my Corvette has finally dropped $22,000 less than MSRP. Yes, the MSRP that was on the car. And we're starting to see that more. And I think today, because it's becoming a factor quicker than ever, a lot of people are starting to scare or be concerned about how the Corvette marketplace or value of the Corvettes will actually fall. I still believe the C8 is a solid purchase. And the reason why I sit there and say that to you is because even if you go out there and look today, the cheapest Corvette on the market is listed at $54,000. I want you to remember that the Corvette started out in 2020 at a $60,000 car. So over the course of 4 model years, the lowest purchasing price for this car is still $6 grand less than MSRP. Despite my car dropping trade-in value, my car is still selling for less than $20,000 than MSRP. And what I mean by that is, if you actually go out there and take a look at the average 3LT convertible on the market, and I'm not even going to say similarly equipped, but closely equipped or even less equipped than my car, the cheapest one out there, close to my miles, is still selling for over $60,000. So even though I'm being told my car is worth less than, my car is still selling on the marketplace for just around 15 less than MSRP. So again, I'm still wondering where this $30,000 number is coming for. Or is it the simple fact that because you can look at the used market and find some high mile Corvette C8s out there, and people just believe that every Corvette out there is the same price as a 2024 or a 2025? And I have to remind people also that this is where the misconception comes in with the pricing as well. Because in 2020, you could buy a base C8 with pretty much no options for $60,000. That same Corvette C8 today would cost you an additional $8,000 because they're stickering or starting out at 68 grand. So a lot of people look at the market today and see the $68,000 price tag, and then they see that you can go out there and buy a base C8 for $54,000, and they're not really taking the miles into consideration. They're just sitting there saying to you that, hey, you can get a car today, $15,000 under MSRP. $20,000 under MSRP. And I say the $20,000 because there are more higher mile 2LTs on the market. When I'm saying higher mile 2LTs, there are some out there with 50 and 60,000 miles, a lot with 40, which is very surprising to me because when we talk about people driving cars, you rarely hear from those people. But yes, there are a lot of higher mile 2LTs on the market. And when you look at similarly equipped 2025 vehicles today, or what you can buy one for, it is almost a 20 grand drop in the price of a car. So you have to be careful at how you interpret the information, but I'm trying to give it to you straightforward now here and on the spot. But the last thing I want to sit there and say is another factor into this too becomes the C8 Z06. A lot of people bought this car with an over MSRP pricing. I was one of the people that predicted this car to last over MSRP for well into 2 years. I did not believe, and I will say that again, I did not believe it would fade away until late, or should I say the fall of the year 2025 or into the 2026 C8 Z06 model year. Well, I was wrong. I'm seeing out there now, there are C8 Z06s finally being listed under MSRP. Although there are no rebates that you can apply to the C8 Z06, but they are pulling people in with lower, or should I say under MSRP pricing. But I will also say this to you. Not every dealership, and I say this disclaimer again, not every dealership is still trying to hit you with hidden fees, but a lot of cars are being advertised for under MSRP. But when they try to close the deal or you ask for the out the door pricing, we are still seeing in 2024, for the 2025 and 2024 C8 Z06s, we are still seeing hidden fees, or should I say Corvette prep fees, dealer prep fees, and so forth in excess of $1,000 to $2,000. So yes, the top line that says sale price may show discounted, but we are still seeing, and I'm not saying every dealer, but we are still seeing dealer trying to slide past these high price fees. So be careful when you're out there buying cars and you see these fees, because some people actually believe you can't do anything about it. And I'm just going to be upfront with you again. That is nothing but profit for the dealership. So in conclusion, or to sum this up before I let you guys go, the Corvette market and the pricing for the Corvette market is honestly stable. And when I say stable, I want to say it to you like this. It is actually depreciating better despite there being so many cars on the street and the market is being considered flooded. When it comes to purchasing price, the car is still holding value compared to any previous generation Corvette ever released on the street. When it comes to trade-in value, the C8 Corvette is actually depreciating slower than the best-selling Corvette of any previous generation, which if you go back and look at historical stats, they say that was the C7. We probably have another 3-year run on the Corvette C8, and I project that by the time its production comes to an end, the market will still be stable and still be depreciating slower than any previous Corvette market ever. So that's the truth on the Corvette C8 marketplace. Yes, there are a lot of cars. Yes, we've seen the market shift from the days of $50,000 over MSRP selling prices, although I don't think those days are gone when the C8 ZR1 hits the street. But at the end of the day, what you can buy a Corvette for, the value you can lose on a Corvette if you paid MSRP, right now, that isn't out of spec, out of whack, or crazy. But what does concern me is 3 more years of adding rebates on cars. We're probably going to see a shift in the marketplace. But in the end, I can say this to you. Before COVID hit, the C7 Corvette had a $9,000 rebate to move them. The marketplace on the C7 Corvette, from the cost of a base car to what you could buy one used on the market, was pretty much $37,000 under MSRP. Well, those days have went away, but I don't think the Corvette C8, by the time this market ends, if you find a nicely mild Corvette, which is somewhere around 20,000 miles, regardless of what market year or model year you're looking at. That's usually always typically a nice mild Corvette. I don't think finding a 2020 Corvette with less than 25,000 miles, you will still be able to purchase it under $36,000 from MSRP. That's my opinion, because at that point, you're talking about a car that's selling for around $20,000. And I just don't see the Corvette C8 hitting that low that quick. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I know a lot of people are going to have their own opinions on this car. I'm just telling you based off the information and the trends I'm seeing. So ICNV Driver's Edition, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver's Edition community. We are an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I would do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up, just like this one, is interesting enough, I may shoot a video on it. Remember, we were all designed in his image and given dominion over the world, which means we weren't just meant to be. So trace your dreams, build your visions, never give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in these streets. Peace.